Joining us now is Shaitan Atigarin with stories trending around the world. Hello, Shaitan.
Hello, Doctor. Hello, Adesuwa. I'm
Good
loving
morning.
the green, the tie, the dress.
Thank you.
Hi, Rifai. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Chaita. Hi, how's everything? Hope you're good. Trust you're doing well.
I am. Let's start. What's trending today in Ogun State, where the government has suspended the Commissioner for Environment, Abiodun Abudu Balogun, from office for alleged sexual harassment of an underage girl. The suspension will last pending the conclusion of an independent investigation into the allegation. A statement issued by the secretary to the state government, Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, said the suspension of the commissioner is to enable him cooperate fully with the independent investigation being carried out by the police. In a Facebook video post that has now gone viral, 16-year-old Barakat Melojuekun alleged that the commissioner connived with her uncle and a teacher from another secondary school to lure her to her house, where he sexually harassed her. Let's take a look.
Honorable Abiodun Abudu Balogun.
Okay.
So the Honorable Abiodun Abudu Balogun now came inside, and Mr. Austin went outside immediately. So immediately Mr. Austin went out, the Honorable Abiodun Abudu Balogun locked the door instantly and put the key inside his pocket. So he now moved closer to me and asked for the name of my school. I told him that I'm from Victory Model College. He now moved closer to me and pressed my breast. I now move away his hand.
You mean Honorable Balogun, the current Commissioner for Environment, moved and touched your breast?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He touched my breast, so I moved away his hand that he shouldn't touch my breast. He now asked me that, won't I cooperate? I said, why will I cooperate? So he now started pressing my breast, pressing my body, and harassing me, something like that.
And what were you doing that time?
I was struggling to free myself from him, to gain freedom. So he now started reciting some incantations. I wanted to place his hand on my head. I now moved away his hand that he shouldn't touch my head, that they don't used to touch my head. He now wanted to force me inside his bedroom, but I struggled with him and started shouting because people are around his compound and he didn't want them to know what is happening. He now leave me there. He now gave me 500 naira notes, which is 2,000 naira, that I should use it as my transport. I rejected the money that I didn't.
The allegations, describing the video as teleguided and political blackmail by his adversaries. A new video has since surfaced of Barakat saying that she was misconstrued and asking for the matter to rest. Her father also expressed his desire to discontinue with the case against the commissioner, saying he is not interested in pressing the matter further, begging Nigerians, the international community and the media to support him by laying the matter to rest. Let's take a look and come back to discuss.
Barakat. You can recall that I was the young lady in the viral video about sexual harassment by the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State. I'm using this opportunity to thank all meaningful Nigerians that show their support and love towards this matter. And I want you to know that there were few misconceptions and misunderstandings between I and the Commissioner. And I now want to use this opportunity to appeal to meaningful Nigerians to please allow this matter to rest. Thanks.
Yes, so the family of Barakat has, of course, said that they want to withdraw all allegations. But this is an interesting story because in the first video, she was very descriptive. She seemed to remember what happened, described what happened, in fact. And then when the video goes viral, and less than 24 hours after, of course, the Ogun State government, went in very swiftly and said, you know what, step down until this has been resolved. But to now see the family saying we don't want anything to do with it, is it because it's false, or is it because they don't want to go through the circus that comes with sexual allegations?
Many questions, right questions you have asked there. First, we'll commend the Ogun State government for asking the commissioner to step aside while investigations are ongoing. It's not something we see in Africa, where people who are accused of wrongdoing resign or step aside. It's a rarity. But coming to the case at hand, you're very correct. She's a very alert 16-year-old girl. She was very vivid. And so to recant this, and I also commend the Ogun State Police command, because they have now said they will continue investigation. The family has the right to say, we no longer want to press this, but the police should go ahead, because we have to rule out the circumstances in which this, according to her, few misconceptions and misunderstanding have now been recounted. Let's make sure that it was not made under direct coercion, intimidation, what exactly has happened between the first video and the second video. And that's why in some jurisdiction, for you to even make a complaint, you have to make it under oath. So if she had done that, then she'll be committing perjury at this point. So I really commend, and I think that this is a case we should follow through.
Definitely. Doctor?
Well, this was an incident that occurred in Itautu, Abigi, Ijebu Waterside local government area, between the 29th and the 31st of December. And you've shown that video where the young lady made the allegations. It's a longer video.
It's about 8 minutes,
and quite detailed. Now, all of a sudden, our father steps forward to say they are no longer pressing the charges. Well, the father is not the victim. So the father is not in a position whatsoever to say they are withdrawing the case. The case is already before the police. On January 1, the DPO at the Abigi police station wrote a letter inviting the commissioner to come and attend to them. And then secondly, the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State has already asked that the case be transferred to the police command in Abeokuta. Second, we're dealing with a minor. In this particular case, even that minor is not in a position to say what I said before, I want to withdraw it. Because there were misconceptions and misunderstandings, using exactly the same phrase that our father used. The matter is already before the state, and yes, I agree. We should commend the Commissioner of Police for saying they are going ahead, because sexual harassment is a felony under Section 224 of the Criminal Code. You are not even allowed under the law to try to lure a girl, induce her so that you can have carnal knowledge, unlawful carnal knowledge of the girl. And in this case, I stress again, this is a minor. So the case now is between CP Ogun State and Abudu Balogun, the commissioner. Now, and then another thing, of course, why the case must be thoroughly investigated is that there are other dramatis personae in the lady's account, including one guy called Lassis Said, a.k.a. Mayor, who was including one Sheyi at the Motor Park, including one Miss Adeola Oyenuga, who was the one that facilitated her being taken to the commissioner. So all of these other persons that she mentioned, what do they know? That's part of what the police should investigate. And if there is a prima facie case that should be made, yes, they should go ahead and prosecute the commissioner. The penalty under Section 224 is 2 years imprisonment. Now, as for the state government, I think the state government should also be commended. The governor acted swiftly. And in the statement issued by the secretary to the state government, it was made clear that the Ogun State government will not tolerate any form of, abuse of office or sexual harassment or molestation of women, not to even talk of a minor. And immediately after, the commissioner went on suspension. Now, what is more important about the response of the Ogun State government is that we had a similar situation in April 2020 in Kogi State, when the commissioner for water resources in that state was accused of sexual harassment. Now, people started insisting that that commissioner for water resources should be asked to go on suspension. He was not sent on suspension. Instead, the state government started defending him, that the police can continue their investigation and that it will have nothing to do with his work. So two states, two different kinds
ways of handling it.
Yes.
Rufai, come in here. Let's talk about this. I mean, this one made a statement where she said, if she had said maybe giving this account under oath, we will not be saying the same thing today. Do you agree with this?
Yes, so there's that angle to it, that if she has given it under oath, but it's in public glare, an investigation has started, like all the lawyers in the House have said, and this should be followed through to the end. Her coming to say otherwise now, it's quite shocking. I suspect a lot of foul play. We don't know what might have gone on. all of a sudden the father's message and the daughter's message sync. This was the same girl that was very vibrant and buoyant. I mean, in also conducting this investigation, I think a lot of psychology should go into it. You should use a lot of psychologists, embrace the use of psychologists in this, to be able to know the psychological states and know what the lady is suffering from now. Maybe it's harassment, maybe it's some form of coercion, and maybe it's some form of intimidation that is going through. But I remember that case Dr. Abati spoke about in Kogi State, and I remember how Natasha Akpoti was the one that pushed, concerning that case, and we followed through on that case. We reported that case here, and we're constantly furnished on information on that case. At first, the police didn't want to play ball in Kogi. Now there were a lot of power play, but now the case has gone to court and it's been tried out. But for me, the sad part is, in 2021, when we say we're a very civilized society, it's indicative of the fact that women are still a very big endangered species in Nigeria. Maybe it's in the north where a woman, took a picture and put on Instagram and some people said it was her ram and they threatened her life. Or it's in the banking sector, for instance, where there's a lot of power relationship, male bosses and having sexual affair with women or the likes, or any part of society. And that's why I say we need to ask ourselves the salient questions about society and societal existence, and ask ourselves truly that, do we want to be a sane society or an insane society? The fact that women are still pushed down, the fact that any woman aspires to anything great in life in this country, they'll still say that she slept with a man to get there, is very annoying in this country. The fact that every woman is subjugated one way or the other, maybe she's sexually harassed, is very annoying in this country. The fact that we still think a woman's place in the kitchen is very annoying. And I want a lot of women NGOs to stand up concerning this case and ensure that this case is investigated and justice is gotten across board.
Thank you so much, Rufai. Well, still in Nigeria, the critics company Kids creating epic sci-fi short films using their phones, and Hollywood is paying attention. Ranging in age from 7 through 27, the critics have become social media sensations in using their mobile phones to create short films with visual effects. Science fiction films are typically created with sophisticated software and high-tech equipment, but these young filmmakers, most of whom are siblings or cousins, prove that less is more, using everyday items at their disposal to shoot short films. Raymond Yusuf, age 18, the group's VFX artist and editor, says that in 2015, they thought themselves to make films and experiment with green screens used to superimpose images onto different backgrounds by reading Wikipedia and watching YouTube tutorials. Let's take a look at scenes from their short film, Another Star Wars Story.
Well, Sheiton, thanks for that. But at this point, we'd like to take a short commercial break. When we return, the program will continue. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Sheiton Atigari is still with us with stories trending around the world.
Yes, Doctor.
Sheiton, back to you.
Before the break, we were watching that video from this young group called the Critics Company. Anybody who's interested could go watch it. It's about 3 minutes long, but you can see them, of course, with very high-tech GFX and, graphics. You can see almost, obviously not the same quality as you'd see in Star Wars. Those are multi-billion-dollar projects. But to just know that they use household items coming from, where we've seen the Ikorodu boys doing music videos, to seeing this young, and I'm happy to see girls, of course, as part of this group, using their talents. And J.J. Abrams, who is the original the godfather of sci-fi, has reached out to them. And even though I'm happy that this has happened, I'm also sad because it's like all our talent is just being exported somehow.
You know, hopefully, we'll begin to pay attention and we'll catch them first before, they get all the attention from outside. And that speaks volumes to a lot of things. What we do with our creative talent, our youth, the opportunity we should be giving them here. Just yesterday, we had Bolaji Balogun, who's the CEO of Chapel Hill, Denham. And, he said something. He said, if by now a child doesn't have an access to phone and internet, it's a crime. And I totally agree with him. To think that they learnt all of this from YouTube. So what they need, access to internet and a device, maybe a phone, maybe a laptop, maybe, a pad. But they were able to access the internet and a device, and they are creating this.
Already.
The future is bright for Nollywood. That's all I can say.
Yes. Doctor?
Well, first point is that this again speaks to the talent, the resourcefulness, the ingenuity of the average Nigerian youth. These are young persons. The youngest is 7, the oldest is 27, and that 27 is their manager, the 27-year-old. One Ridwan Adeniyi, who is the oldest member of the group. And you see the talent that they have demonstrated that has attracted the attention of J.J. Abrams, Scott Myers, and Franklin Leonard, who have in fact gone ahead to send equipment to them to further empower them. And I would like to see a situation also where, these young people who show great resourcefulness, either in the movie industry or in fintech or high-tech or agri-tech, are supported by the Nigerian state and by Nigerian, philanthropies or privileged persons. It shouldn't be always that would be getting that support from outside the shores of Nigeria. Young people, whom have been described as diamonds or described as national resource, should also see that they are in an environment, an enabling environment where their talents are allowed to flower. Elsewhere, in other parts of the world, government will focus on these young people and begin to groom them, so that they become part of a strategic talent reserve for the country in the future. But here in Nigeria, nobody follows through. There is one young boy somewhere in Lagos here who has distinguished himself as a ballet dancer. He was featured on this program. And he lives in a one-bedroom apartment with his mother in the middle of nowhere. But he's a star ballet dancer. Now, these particular boys, the critics company, they also remind us of the Ikorodu boys. The Ikorodu boys, were also doing films, comedic films, and then you have these other people in Kaduna who are also producing films. And they've done up to 20 short films that they have done, So, it's great enterprise that should be encouraged, and it's a good reminder to all of us that we're a country of talented people. But what you do with those talents, how you nurture them, how you grow them, is a challenge for government.
Rufai, come in here, please. Let's talk about these kids.
Right. I'm really very excited about these kids, and I'm never in doubt of what young people in Nigeria can do. There's a boy up north in Jos that makes a car, and there are Nigerians all over the world. And with internet, with a phone in your hands, you can do so much more. You don't have to put all the investment like George Lucas put in place to be able to get Star Wars out first. But the sad thing is, and I wrote about this about 4 years ago in one of my articles I wrote for a tech daily, the Delaware effect. So with every company in Nigeria, what happens is people come from the West, invest in them, and they take them away. Logistics, anything you want. And most of these companies, because of tax issues, they're incorporated in Delaware in America, and they start to be part of the American economy, just like Andela was taken away after China and Zuckerberg Foundation bought them over for 20 million US. It is time we need to start developing our talent here. There is nothing we want to do in sci-fi that we cannot do here. Nigeria is blessed with great scenery to be able to churn out great films, and it is time to develop all we have here.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Rufai. However, before we move on to our next story, I want to head back to the first story we did about the sexual allegation. The picture that we did use, in fact, earlier was wrong. This is the picture of Abiodun Abudu Balogun, who is the current commissioner in Ogun State that was suspended, commissioner for environment that was suspended by the state government over the alleged sexual harassment. The picture that was used earlier was a wrong picture. We do apologize. Now to our last and final story, over now to the U.S., where an innocent driver who spent 28 years in jail after he was wrongly convicted of murder has been awarded $9.8 million. In 1991, Holman was only 21 years old when he was reportedly driving through city center in Philadelphia and was randomly stopped by the police. He was accused of robbery and killing of a University of Pennsylvania students due to atrocious police misconduct. Holman was convicted of second-degree murder and robbery with no DNA or even a murder weapon. He had no criminal record and worked as an armored car driver. In 2019, a judge ordered the then 49-year-old to be released after nearly 3 decades behind bars. Police and prosecutors had built their case on fabricated statements from people they coerced as witnesses, according to the judge. They also withheld evidence which pointed to the actual perpetrators. Now, the Philadelphia Inquirer reports that Holman will receive his $9.8 million, which is the second largest settlement in the city's history. Wrongful convictions get under my skin. I know $9.8 million is a lot of money, but all that time spent in jail since 1991 till 2019, it makes me feel very iffy just thinking about it.
It would not buy him the 28 years that he has lost, but it's a substantial amount. And the fact that the authorities are able to acknowledge their mistake. I mean, any judicial system is as strong as its accuracy. And wrongful conviction is a global problem. However, some statistics say in the US alone, about 2.3% of those convicted are wrongfully convicted. So it's a serious problem. It goes beyond structural reforms for any judicial system to get it right. And the US must get it right. We all must get it right. It's a problem here as well.
Definitely. Doctor?
Well, wrongful conviction, let's use a stronger word, miscarriage of justice, travesty of justice.
Yes.
Because when a person is wrongfully convicted, it means that justice has not been done.
Yes.
And the effect is irreversible. It doesn't matter the amount of money that anybody is given as compensation. All the years lost, the effect on the person, the effect on his family, will be irreversible. And the worst case scenario is when people are convicted wrongfully and they are sentenced to death. And then they get killed.
Then?
And, that conveys the clear irreversibility of it. And then at the end of the day, it is discovered, as has been the case in many instances, that the person was innocent. The person is already dead. Now you found that you made a mistake. And it is in that regard one of the reasons why persons have been pushing for the elimination of the death penalty. Because if the person is still alive and a mistake is realized, then of course it can be reversed. Yeah. Now, the challenge within the criminal justice system, either in the US or anywhere else, is that it's usually very difficult to upturn a case of wrongful conviction. It takes time. If you check the details of this gentleman's story, you will see that it must have taken a number of years for his innocence to be proven. Now, in the US, we're told that annually about 10,000 cases of wrongful conviction occur. So over 10,000 persons going to jail or being sentenced
about
to
60% of that number are African American.
To the death row, yes. And that's the major challenge there, the race element of it. And that's why you find the African American community in the United States often saying that black people are wrongfully targeted. And, the issues are about perjured evidence, maybe a false identification process, a long list of, issues. Or it could even be a miscarriage of justice on the part of the presiding judge or the jury. So these are the issues. It remains a challenge in the U.S., but the racial factor involved makes it worse.
Well, Rufai, as we round up, let's talk about this very quickly.
I mean, it's quite very sad. It's quite very harrowing. The people I want to talk to are the people that are quick to blame people and judge them without even knowing the full extent of the case. So there's a particular case, I forget the dramatis personae now, of a certain guy that was accused of rape. And let me shock you. The incumbent president of America, Donald J. Trump, was one of those that took editorials in the New York Times to say this guy should be convicted and killed. Many years down the line, it was discovered that this guy didn't do that crime. So those are the people, and Trump did it because of the racist person he was.
I think you're referring to the Central Park Five?
The Central Park Five. Trump did it because of the sheer racist person he was. And those are the kind of people we should disabuse in society. People that go ahead and instigate because of racial tendencies and the likes. I think Donald Trump owes that Central Park Five an apology if he's not given one. Because he could have ruined and destroyed their life forever. Like Dr. Abati said, it's irreversible. And that's why for every case out here, including the commissioner's case and the girl's case, we always call for due investigation. And everybody must be given fair hearing. Even the commissioner, we must hear his own side of the story. Definitely. So that we don't miscarriage justice.
And that's all. Thank you very much, Sheiton Atigani. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning.